Hello all, and welcome to Explained with Dylan. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I find quite interesting personally. Carbon credits. What they are, how they work, and if they actually work. Carbon credits are really pretty simple. It's a credit given out by the UNFCCC, also known as the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Why they named it as such a long name, I have no idea. They could have picked a way shorter name, but instead they decided to call it the UNFCCC. Anyways, they give out a credit for when you don't pollute. Every single ton of greenhouse gas that does not get emitted, that you basically didn't emit, but would have, but you didn't because you're being good to the environment, then they give you a credit for. So take Tesla, for example. They could be using way more fossil fuels and emitting way more greenhouse gases. But instead, they are using electric vehicles, which still technically pollute quite a bit, but that's a different video for another time. My point being, they get tons of credits for that because they don't pollute. So, once you receive these credits, companies tend to sell these credits because they don't really need the credits because they don't pollute. But companies that do pollute need to have those credits so they look slightly better because they might pollute a ton. If you're an oil and gas company, then you're polluting a ton. Obviously, you're emitting tons of greenhouse gases and you could be penalized. But if you buy a bunch of carbon credits, then you won't be penalized because it looks like you're being nicer to the environment. So in short, you're taking someone else's credit for being good to the environment when you're being awful to it. And it kind of works because then Tesla makes a ton of profit off of selling their credits. In fact, they don't actually make a profit off their vehicles. Currently, they are posting a net loss across their vehicles. The only reason they're so profitable is because of all the carbon credits they're able to sell. This past year, Tesla made $1.6 billion on selling carbon credits. $1.6 billion. And keep in mind here, every credit, there's no solid price for a carbon credit because the market goes up and down. But it's always around, call it $50, between $50 and $80. So to make $1.6 billion off of that is remarkable. And other companies are doing the same. Anyone that is not emitting greenhouse gases when they easily could, anyone that's truly being nice to the environment, it offsets it and they ended up getting carbon credits, in which case they can sell and make an absolute massive profit from it. So economically speaking, this is a genius idea because you're selling the fact that you're being nice to the environment to companies that clearly are not. But there is an issue. That doesn't incentivize companies to go out and be nicer to the environment, emit less greenhouse gases. If you can just buy a credit for $50, then why would you spend the millions upon millions of dollars to completely transition and to be environmentally friendly? It's way easier just to buy a couple carbon credits and bam, you're offset and you are fine, but you can continue to pollute normally. On the other hand, though, it really incentivizes companies to be nicer to the environment that are already being nice to the environment because then they'll make more carbon credits, in which case they can sell them and make more of a profit. This is how a bunch of these companies that are creating environmentally friendly electricity, amongst many other things, are making as much money as they do. Because honestly, making electricity that way is not economically practical. But you can make carbon credits off of that, and you can sell them, and you can make tons of money, as we saw from Tesla. If Tesla didn't have carbon credits, they'd be bankrupt right off the bat. Most of these startup electric car brands that are wannabes are never going to make a go of it if they didn't have carbon credits. But there's also the problem with the former car brands that are still trying to make electric cars but aren't getting many carbon credits because they still make gasoline cars, even though that's what the market wants to buy. So they do make a profit from their cars, but they do not make all the carbon credits. So this is the problem, as I discussed before. On the one hand, you shouldn't be allowed to sell these carbon credits because then other companies aren't incentivized whatsoever to be nicer to the environment. But on the other hand, if you didn't sell those carbon credits, then why would companies at all try and be nice to the environment? Like I said, Tesla would go bankrupt, which might be a good thing, honestly, but we would lose a massive portion of the electric car market, and I'm not sure everyone would step completely into that void. It might be left slightly empty. Some people might go, screw it, I don't want an electric Ford truck. Why not just go for the old-fashioned F-150 with gasoline? So it's really tough to say what to do about them, but I just say continue on how you're going. That incentivizes companies to continue being environmentally friendly, and honestly, most of the companies aren't able to be more environmentally friendly, the ones that are polluting a ton already, because there's no way to make environmentally friendly oil. And at this point in time, our economy relies quite a bit on oil, so there's no way we can just cut it out currently. But things could change very soon. We'll have to see in the next couple of years what happens with all of this. But for now, thanks for watching.